On this week's episode of Ranked and Reviewed, we're continuing our Halloween Ranked and Reviewed series with Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Ooh.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ranked and Reviewed, where we are continuing our Halloween Ranked and Reviewed series. I am your host, TOMYE West, and joining me as always is my co-host, ALANNIS Maximus.
Greetings.
Now please, before we get started, leave a like. One call to action, just leave a like on the video, it helps us out a lot. Isn't that right, ALANNIS?
It does, and I like it when I get helped.
Good. Well, let's get into it with our review of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, we'll get into an overview of this movie quickly before we get down to anything. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, released 1989, rated 18, so I'm guessing R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes, has an IMDb rating of 5.0 out of 10. It is directed by Dominique Athenen-Gerard, and it stars Donald Pleasance, Daniel L. Harris, Ali Cornell, among others. And this movie had a box office budget of $5 million. It made $5 million on opening weekend in US and Canada. Grossed US and Canada 11.5 million. Gross worldwide 11.5 million. So, with that, let's get into what we thought about Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. ALANNIS, you take the driver's wheel. You get out of the fucking passenger seat. You take the wheel. I got the Uzi. I'm hanging out the window, ready to do this drive-by. Make sure you take that wheel and you do a good job. And
yes.
Swing this car in the direction and tell us what you thought.
It was an interesting one. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. Probably on the closer side to liking. Like, the more I watch over this franchise, it kind of reminds me out of, like, your big horror, 80s, 90s, B-grade horrors, why Halloween wasn't always up there for me. It was just one of those ones I'm like, hey, that's cool. And I think this movie's very indicative of that kind of thing. It's like, hey, this is cool, but not 100% my thing. It's almost like the Halloween movies got swept up in the horror wave and didn't know quite what they were in some ways. But yes, I liked it. I think it's a long story short.
I'm very surprised that you did like it. I have a lot of problems with this movie. Really, like, a lot of problems. First of all, what the fuck happened to the Michael Myers house?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? It looked like something out of, like, the Addams Family. You know what I mean? Like, and then my other problem with it was the whole tattoo on the arm with the Thorn trilogy. Like, this is the Thorn cult or whatever. My other big problem was the Man in Black. Had absolutely no business being in this movie. My other big problems with it was having Jamie, now a mute, and her friend is a Billy, being really, like, stuttery, and
yes.
The mask looks shit. Like, there's just so many problems with this movie that I'm surprised that you actually enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, the mask in this movie was particularly bad. Like, it looked like if an Asian bootlegging company made a Michael Myers figure. That is how it would look. I think that's the way I can put that mask in this one.
It was terrible. And
and they killed the fucking dog again.
I know, they always have to kill an animal. I don't know why. And then the other thing is, like, I know that we established in Halloween 4 that Haddonfield is, like, surrounded by cornfields and farms and, like, you know, rural sort of area. So it's a town in the middle of a rural area. But I feel like we got a lot less of the Haddonfield feel, and we got more of a farm feel. You know what I mean? Everything was usually set at this was mainly set at this party at the farm, and he's basically impaling everyone with farm objects the entire time. The other thing I hate in this movie is the lead actress, the annoying as lead actress.
Rachel?
No, Rachel dies too quickly in this movie.
That's right, not Rachel. What's her name?
Her name is
Rachel's friend.
Yes, Rachel. Wendy. She played Tina.
Tina, that's the one.
She was annoying as fuck, man. So, also the direction that this movie went in, as I said, after the big cliffhanger we got in Halloween 4 with Jamie apparently killing her mum, and then we find out in this one she didn't kill her mum. It was, I just feel like they missed an opportunity and they just went in a complete wrong direction. I mean, Michael Myers was fucking shot to the shit and landed in a grave, and then suddenly he just rolls out into the river like this moron, like looks like this idiot rolling down the river, and then he sleeps in this like bum's bungalow for like a year as this hobbit hole, you know what I mean? Like, it just, there's so much to this movie that I'm like, oh, this movie sucks, man. This sucks, you know?
That's where I get confused, because it's they to me, unless I miss something, he's still just a dude at this point. Like, it feels like they've kind of tried to. It's like Jason Voorhees was inspired by Michael Myers, but now it's like they're trying to take elements of Jason Voorhees into Michael Myers, where Voorhees is explained as he's supernatural, unkillable, not just a dude. But they've almost taken that element from that and put it into Michael Myers with no explanation, and it's like that's where it fell on itself for me. I'm like, you're being on that realer edge, but you're also bringing in this unspoken. I mean, I don't want to say realistic because it's an 80s horror movie, but as realistic as you can be there, you're removing that. Like, this guy's just had the shit shot out of him. And as you said, he's fallen into a river and sleeps in a hobo den. Power of hobos healed him? Like, I mean, what's going on here?
I mean, everything about this movie, from the making of it to the direction, to the director, to the rushed script where they've started filming this movie with absolutely no proper foundation. They got a French director who just had just a complete wrong style for what Halloween should be. I just feel like this is Halloween 4's follow-up, and if you had say if you had made Halloween 4 as Halloween number 1, right, and then this was its follow-up, it would be the worst. You know what I mean? So I look at it as like in a trilogy of the Thorn trilogy, which is Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and then Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, which we're doing next week. I haven't seen Curse of Michael Myers in a while, which is the one we're doing next week, and I don't remember it being as bad as this or not, so I can't tell you. I can't remember. But from what I can tell you so far is out of all the Halloween movies that isn't Season of the Witch, this has to be the lowest point for me. So tell me some other things you liked about it.
I think it whilst it didn't do it well, particularly, it did have some of those kind of elements in the kills and it was closer to a Friday the 13th movie, I think, than we'd gotten before, which is my preference. So just through that. And it's probably for the wrong reasons to like a Halloween movie, to like it for reasons that aren't a Halloween thing. Are probably why I, just on the perspective of me enjoying it, I think I enjoyed it a little more than maybe some of the others, without giving away my standpoint.
What did you think about Rachel dying so quickly in this movie?
I wasn't too shocked. It was kind of like a case of going, they did it as well. So I know in at least Friday the 13th across their series, they'll have the hero from the last movie die really soon or at the midpoint. So I think it was a trendy thing to do, is to kill off the heroes for, I guess, maybe the shock value of Oh man, they kicked ass last time, but
See, I feel
they
like
did
I feel like it would have been okay if they did that, but then replaced her with someone that was interesting instead of Tina.
it. I they did it in a really weird way as well. Like I didn't quite get their angle. Like you can tell that they were wanting to hold off on the gore. So it didn't particularly like they didn't really show her dead. They show her get stabbed, and then the whole movie, and then you find her dead. Um, and it's weird. It's like they pulled their punch in a really weird way there. Like it's a kind of it was like there was something more to that scene that was just cut, and it was a really abrupt cut. They go, no, we can't put that there. That second stab where you see her get stabbed in the throat or something. It was a really weird way they did it.
Well, some interesting sort of trivia behind that was in the script it was written that he was meant to shove scissors down her throat. And the character of Rachel thought that wasn't dignified enough for her character making it all the way through number 4 and basically flat out refused that happen to her character. So they did something a little less extreme than that, I guess.
Huh.
Like, that's what I mean. If you watch the behind the scenes of this movie, look, if you don't want to go listen to a 19-hour audio book, which is from Audible or whatever, taking shape, go onto YouTube and type in Halloween movie documentary. And there's a few to pick from, but pick the one that goes for 4 and a bit hours. It goes through all the movies, has interviews with all the people in these franchises, writers, everything. And everyone throughout Halloween 5's making of it, the actors, the actresses, the crew, Donald Pleasance, nobody was happy with this movie. Nobody.
It's just weird. I think on a Donald Pleasance front, it was one of his better movies out of the Halloween movies. On his level of like his acting, he was a little less overboard.
Yeah, well,
but I also got him a soft spot to him, so maybe it's that. Maybe I've warmed up to. I shot him 6 times.
I shot him 6 times. Well, get ready for it, man, because next week's episode will officially be the last Donald Pleasance.
He was unwell not long after that movie was made, wasn't he?
I'm pretty sure he died during or not long after the making of that movie. I can't remember. But yeah, like apparently he was pretty tired and stuff during the making of this movie, even Halloween 4. You know what I mean? Like he was already like starting to struggle. You know what I mean? So they kind of got him to do his more dialogue heavy, more thoughtful like stuff that he had to do early on in the day, and then later in the day it would just be like shots of him like walking or sitting in a car or whatever he needed to do, just so that they didn't overwork him. You know what I mean? So. We do, though, get sort of like a cameo appearance of him, I guess, but it's more like an audio cameo appearance, and it's not actually him, but it's someone who voice acted Donald Pleasance at the start of Halloween H2O. And we also get a weird CG cameo of him in Halloween Kills, which you know. So, what did you think about how Michael was portrayed and played in this movie compared to in Halloween 4?
I don't like that that whole moment where he's like, what's her name? Jamie. It's like, cousin, and he pauses and takes his mask off and has that sentimental moment. I didn't like that. I don't think you're going to chase a little kid and try to kill them for 2 movies and then go, oh, you're my cousin. I'll pause at this. Like, at that point, I think he's beyond the point of going sentimental on this.
I think that the only part in this movie that I kind of really enjoy, and it's more from just a cinematic point, I guess, would be when they're getting chased by the car in the corner,
Nice.
in the farm fields.
I did like the I don't know what it was she was hiding in, like a laundry chute or
Yes.
whatever they call them, the old timely shoots in the house. That scene with Michael I particularly liked, and I think for its time would have been pretty tense.
Well, apparently she was in there with no harness, no nothing, and apparently he was stabbing a real knife through that as well. So
Jeez.
that's a little bit of interesting fact there. Also, he nearly ran over and killed someone in one of the stunt drivers. The guy who plays Michael Myers throughout this movie nearly ran over someone on the chasing him through the cornfields thing because they pumped all this fog through all the set, and then he couldn't even see properly while he was driving. So that's interesting.
So child labour and OH&S was a lot looser in the
Much
early
looser,
90s.
much looser. And apparently no one yelled cut at the end of that too. So when he crashed into the tree and the car was on fire, he sat in that car for way too long.
So this is okay. And something like, you know who would do that? Jared Leto. I'm a method actor.
Sounds like something from The Simpsons, man.
Yeah.
No one yelled cut, and the guy just dies in the fire. You know. So yeah, tell me some things that you maybe didn't like about this movie.
I don't think it knew what it was trying to do. If it was trying to kind of pull its punches and be more about the suspense like the earlier Halloween movies, or if it was trying to emulate more of the vibe of the Friday the 13th movies, it was kind of sitting in the middle and not going hard either way, and I think that lets it down.
Definitely. And I mean, what do you think about the choices made in the direction of this film? I mean, clearly that house, clearly the way Michael Myers reacts and what does things, like it was all down to direction and things like that. So how do you think the director did in this compared to previous directors of other Halloween movies we watched so far?
I think he did 4 as well, didn't he? No, he didn't. I think he was a poor substitute for the last director, then probably maybe even the worst I've seen so far. Like, it was, as I said, I didn't hate it, but there was just, it didn't feel as good, and I don't think he knew what he was doing. Yeah,
100%. And I just don't get how in Halloween 4 he had, as we were talking last week, that sort of plain white sort of kabuki looking style Michael Myers mask, and then in this one it just looked so haggard and old, and it's meant to be a literal continuation from that moment onwards from the last movie. So
Herbert did the hard on latex apparently.
I mean, how fucking hard is it by now just to get the Michael Myers mask correct? Like, even close, you know what I mean? But fuck, man, like,
at least it wasn't the Scream series mask.
Yeah.
But it was close.
It was close. Close. So, with that, we're going to get into some trivia of this movie. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we kind of get into the trivia? Because I feel like I basically covered everything I have to say. I have very little to say about this movie because I just don't think it's very good. I think it's very poor in pretty much everything it attempts. So I don't want to sit here for half an hour and shit on the movie. Yeah, like I basically said all I need to say. And if I was to continue going on, it's just going to be me rambling about what I don't like, and I kind of have covered those bases, you know.
Oh, the cops, they were great.
Oh yes, fucking
they were good. They were really good. I can't believe I forgot them. I was sad when they died, and I was even sad that they were killed. Oh, that was another thing. It was like you impale a dude with a pitchfork, and then you do a cutaway death of the 2 cops. And it's like,
but dude, why was that fucking clown music played behind them and shit all the time? The wall, like this fucking hell, man. Like
they felt like Jewies. They felt like maybe the template for Dewey.
The worst, not worse than Dewey, man. Way worse, man. Oh, terrible! Trying to add elements of comedic humor into this movie that were so foreign too. It was so French comedy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this is really funny. Oh. All right. So with that, let's get into some trivia. I don't want to talk about those fucking cops anymore. Alright, so, after filming for 2 weeks, Donald Pleasance gave his much bigger trailer to Danielle Harris once he left set. Harris's mother had been complaining about the small size of her daughter's trailer, and Pleasance decided that she should have his.
What a guy.
Yep. The house that Michael returns to when recreating the hairbrushing scene is not the same house design as the Myers house in the first Halloween movie. Oh, no shit. Lowest grossing film in the entire series, according to Box Office Mojo.
Yeah.
The scene where Michael Myers drives a car while wearing a different kind of mask was initially scripted to have him wear a Ronald Reagan mask. However, the idea of Reagan mask was soon rejected in order to keep the film devoid of any political subtexts.
Yeah, that whole scene bothered me. I didn't...
Yeah, it annoyed me too.
Not for too long.
Second film in the series to begin by changing the ending of the previous film after Halloween 2. Donald Pleasance was very vocal about his dissatisfaction with the story and the way director Dominique Othean and Gerard was trying to get him to play Dr. Loomis as totally heavy and overbearing. Pleasance also felt that the success and the shock ending of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers in 1988, was not capitalized on. The laundry chute scene was filmed with 30 different sections of the laundry chute. Some were full props, others were positioned horizontally to run the camera through on a dolly, and others were various sections that had cut out portions for filming. Although the scene was very complex, it was all shot in one night. The old hermit from the opening scene was originally scripted as a younger man named Dr. Death, who had a fascination with the occult. His shack was supposed to be filled with ancient runes and tablets. He attempted to bring Michael back to life after finding him. The scene was filmed and can be seen in Inside Halloween 5 from the year 2000.
That works better for me than a hobo den.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't work for me at all, really. All right, we'll do 2 more, eh? Donald Pleasant's scenes were shot in the first 2 weeks of filming, as he had another film commitment immediately afterwards. And for our last one, in an odd coincidence, the 5th film of the 3 major slasher series, Michael, Freddy, and Jason, had a very different title in the film than the one shown on its cover. In this one, The Revenge of Michael Myers is missing. In Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, the Part 5 is missing. And in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, the number 5 is missing. So I guess they all had fucked up posters that year. Interesting.
We forgot things.
Just like we forgot a lot of things while making this movie. Like about what happened in the 4th one and how to keep it that way. Alright, so, with that, ALANNIS, we are going to get into our official ranking of these movies. Now, I'm going to bring up last week's ranking, and then we'll show you the new ranking. This is last week's. For me, number 1, I had Halloween 2. Number 2, I had Halloween 4. Number 3, I had Halloween. And at number 4, I had Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. ALANNIS had Halloween 4 at number 1, Halloween 2 at number 2, Halloween at number 3, and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch at number 4. And now we're about to unveil the brand new rankings.
It's an interesting pattern we have going on here.
It is. So, for everyone, mine is number 1, Halloween 2. Number 2, Halloween 4. Number 3, Halloween. Number 4, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Number 5, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And now, ALANNIS is number 1, Halloween 4. Halloween 2 at number 2. Halloween 5 at number 3. Halloween at number 4. And Halloween 3, Season of the Witch at number 5. Interesting. How are you feeling about it, those ALANNIS?
I think Halloween 5 and Halloween were very close, but I also didn't watch half a movie of talking with this movie. I think is what made the bee's dick size difference for me to go, you know what, I'll put this a little bit above the original. And I know there's probably a lot of people out here there that hate me right now, but
That's what we are, man. We're controversial.
yeah.
Did you see at the start of the last episode?
Things.
Did you see at the start of the last episode of Pop Vultures? I had to put up a disclaimer because of some of the jokes we put in the fucking episode.
I did not notice that. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I put up a disclaimer saying that we feel that we have the right to make offensive jokes, and if people can't take them as a joke, then they can always find a different channel and video to watch. So it also says you have been warned. So because you made, I don't know if you remember, but we made a pretty off-color joke about what America came number one in. Remember?
Yes.
You started it, motherfucker. You started it. So I just joined in, but I put a disclaimer at the start of that episode. So yeah, but that episode was actually really good, man. If you go check it out, I don't know if you're gonna watch it or not, but the editing job I did for showing some of the footage and stuff for our Indiana Jones plot leaks and stuff, man, it was not an easy job. So I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud. With that is the end, pretty much, of our ranked and reviewed episode for Halloween 5. It's a little bit shorter than previous entries, but it's also not as short as our first entry in the series. As we like to say, we're only going to talk about a movie for as long as we feel necessary. We're not going to push the conversation to go longer than it should. I'm looking forward to getting to, the point of like Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection and Rob Zombie's Halloweens and things like that, because I have a lot more to say on them than I do on these titles like Halloween 4 and Halloween 5, because as much as I'm a Halloween fan and a Michael Myers fan, I do find these 3, 4, 5, 6, Resurrection maybe, we'll see, I can't remember, I haven't watched it in a while, the low points of not just this franchise, but pretty low movies in the horror space in general. I feel like, these are very, very, very meh at best. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to having a lot more to say about the future installments like Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection, Halloween Rob Zombie, Halloween 2 Rob Zombie. We got a lot to go, but we are sort of approaching the halfway mark, I think.
Yes. How many are there? We got 6 H2O Resurrection, the 2 Rob Zombies.
Halloween Kills, Halloween.
Yep. Pretty much just before the middle.
Yep, that's what I thought. So, with that, before we get going, remember, coming up this Sunday is our Predators from 2010 review. For Predator Ranked and Reviewed, continuing our Predator Ranked and Reviewed series. So far we've done Prey, Predator, and Predator 2. You might be saying, well, how come we're not doing the Alien versus Predator movies yet? We are going to do those, but we decided we'd do all the mainline Predator movies, not the Alien versus Predator movies, after we do the mainline Predator movies. So we've got Predators coming up this Sunday, and we've got Predators from 2018 coming up, sorry, The Predator from 2018 coming up next week. Next week we also have our review of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, which is Halloween 6, starring Paul Rudd. So that's going to be a fun time. And the thumbnail I've been making for that is so good. So I'm excited for next week's episodes. I'm also excited for our Predator Ranked and Reviewed this week, because I really love the movie Predators. I might even watch that tonight again to get prepared for that. So everyone make sure you check that out. Remember, our last episode of Pop Vultures went live last night. We talked a little bit about the Indiana Jones plot and footage leaks and set photos and everything. We got them running over the top of us talking about it, so you can check these leaked footages and photos and everything out yourselves. We also talked some Flash details. We also talked a possible PlayStation conference upcoming in September, some video game leaks from Disney, Marvel's showcase coming up in September also. And we also talked about 20 plus shows being axed from HBO Max. Also, a previous episode, we talked about how the Batman sequel had not yet been greenlit. Apparently that has changed, so that is going to be coming up on the next episode of Pop Vultures. Batman 2 has officially been greenlit, and Matt Reeves has officially been given a multi-year contract deal to secure the Batman to keep going with it. So we'll talk a little bit about that next time. Also, coming up on September 18th, it is the 50th anniversary episode of Ranked and Reviewed. It's our 50th episode, and we are doing a special episode called Tanked and Reviewed, where we are going to review Barbie and the Pink Shoes from 2013, and this episode can only be described as an intoxicated celebration review for Ranked and Reviewed's 50th episode, and that is again on Barbie and the motherfucking Pink Shoes from 2013. Are you looking forward to that, ALANNIS?
I am.
And if you remember at the start of this episode, we told you there was one call to action, which is leave a like on this video if possible. If you actually stayed and watched till the end of this video, to me that means you kind of like the content. So, for that reason, you have a couple actions to do now. Subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, and also leave that like that you maybe hopefully already left at the start of this episode, because we love to have you in our community and keep growing this channel as much as possible. With that, we're going to close out the show. We're going to get the fuck out of here, ALANNIS. This has been Ranked and Reviewed, continuing our Halloween Ranked and Reviewed series. And as always, I've been your host, TOMYE West. Joining me, as always, has been my co-host, ALANNIS MAXIMUS. And we will see you next review. Peace.
Farewell.